Yo, what is going on guys? It's Ant, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a Pokemon Sea Glass Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke Shiny only. Now, if you're wondering what a Hardcore Nuzlocke is, let me explain. It's pain. Nah, for real, the rules are kinda simple and you can find them all down in the description. Now, I don't really know the shiny odds for this game. We get gifted a shiny charm at the start and also a second one in Fortree, whilst also the starter is apparently full odds. So yeah, it's all kinda confusing. Also, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Ant and I make a variety of Pokemon challenge content, and if you like what you see, then I think you'll enjoy it here. So let's see if we can grow this channel to 7,000 subscribers. Every day we keep getting that little bit closer, which is insane. I appreciate all of your support too. It never goes unnoticed. We're finally back, and without further ado, let's go get into the video. So, before we can start off a run, we need to shiny hunt our starter. And I thought I was genuinely going to be here for a really long time, as I recently learned that the shiny charm doesn't actually affect the odds in this starter hunt. Despite this being full odds though, our shiny Torchic came in at just over 100 encounters and literally took me under 10 minutes of soft resetting, so we had some insanely good luck here. And with this done, we can now go fight Mayup on Route 102, get our Pokeballs, and the challenge can officially begin. The first thing that I'm going to do once the challenge begins is pull up the Dex Nav and start shiny hunting. And after a ton of encounters, we find ourselves a shiny Oddish. I do a tiny bit of damage to this, then capture it up, before then moving to the next route and shiny hunting again, where after about an hour of hunting, we find ourselves a shiny Marill. Marill also, after quite a bit of chip damage, we go capture up. I only had 2 Pokeballs left for this as well, so I was actually really scared that we wasn't going to get it, but luckily we did. Now with all my Pokemon, I go ahead into Petalburg Woods and go get into my first fight with Team Aqua. He's going to send out his Wailmer here, I send out CBD, and I go use Growth to put myself into +1, before then hitting this with 2 acids and taking this down. Now from here I'm going to do quite a bit of training, get everybody up to level cap, and then we're going to go get into the first gym fight of a run against Roxanne. She's going to lead against us her Anorith. I send out Mizu, our Marill, and I use Bubble Beam on the Anorith to knock it into low life. This happens another 2 more times as Roxanne spams her potions, before we can finally take this down with a 4th Bubble Beam. After Anorith goes down, Roxanne sends out Lily, and Bubble Beam doesn't do too much damage. We're also hit by Rock Tomb here as well, which is going to lower our speed, as we then after hit by super effective acid as well. I have managed to do quite a lot of chip damage to Lileep at least, but I know I can't survive another turn, so I'm going to go make the hard switch over into CBD, set up a Growth, and then I'm going to go for a Bullet Seed, which hits 2 times, and we take down the Lileep. Lastly then, Roxanne sends out Nose Pass. I hit this with a couple tickles to lower its attack and defense, before finishing this off with 2 loads of Bullet Seeds to defeat Roxanne and earn ourselves our first gym badge of the run. After defeating Roxanne, we do a bit more training, and our Torchic is going to go evolve into a Combuskin, and we also do a bit more training as well in Dewford to get Mizu to grow to level 18, because at level 18, Mizu is then able to go evolve from Marill into a Azumarill. Now even though we've got quite a couple strong Pokemon right now, I still don't feel like we're strong enough to actually defeat Brawly, so I go to a route just above Rossborough and I start shiny hunting for a Pichu. Again, after about an hour of looking with the Dex Nav, we managed to find this as well. So I capture the Pichu, run around with this for like an hour to get its friendship up, and then we can finally go and evolve this over into a Pikachu. And with our team now, I'm feeling ready to go head into the Brawly fight, so we head back to Dewford and we go get into things. Now in this fight, my plan is to start off with Pikachu, and on the first turn I'm going to go for a Thunder Wave on the Makuhita and put it under paralysis. This is so we can try and get a few chances of Makuhita missing turns, and then on every other turn after this I'm going to start going for Charm to lower its attack stat by 2 stages. Once knocking this down into -6, I make a hard switch over into CBD, and now I'm going to start going for some Growths, getting myself up to +4, before then going for a Mega Drain and taking down the Makuhita. Nextly after, we get Heracross, and while I'm at +4, I'm going to keep spamming acids, getting it into low life. As Brawly uses a potion, we knock it down into half life again after, take a knockoff, and then we go take this down with a final acid. Lastly now, we've just got Meditite, so I make the switch back over into Pikachu just in case, go for a Thunder Wave on the Meditite, start using a couple charms to lower its attack stat, and then I go make the hard switch over into Mizu. Now Mizu from here can go for 2 Bubble Beams, we get the damage roll on the second attack, take down the Meditite, and defeat Brawly for the second gym badge of a run. From here now we're going to go head over into Slateport and get into a few more Team Aqua fights at the museum. These fights are easy. We're just going to go take down the Carvanha with a Giga Drain. So we take down the Lombre. We get another Carvanha after. Take that down with a Mega Drain. That's the fights in the museum against Team Aqua finished. Saving Captain Stern and allowing us to get over into the next route where we're going to do a tiny bit more training as our level cap has now increased, which is going to help us then evolve CBD over into a Gloom and bring us to our next rover fight of a run against May. May here leads off with Lombre, I lead off with Mizu, and I actually led off with the wrong Pokemon here, so first turn straight away, I'm hard switching over into CBD, we take a Fake Out on switch, and then we can go take down the Lombre with 2 Acids. Nextly then we've got Growlithe, a hard switch over into Mizu, take a Flame Wheel on the switch, and that annoyingly burns us as well. That means our physical attacks are going to be doing less damage, but we still also got Bubble Beam as well, so we can go use 2 of those and take this down. And that's just going to put us into our last Pokemon then, Marshtomp. So for Marshtomp, being a Water Ground type, I'm going to go make that a hard switch back over into Gloom, go for a Mega Drain, take this down with a one-shot, and it's May defeated, giving us access then to Moorville City as we get into a fight with Wally outside the gym. Now Wally in this fight still only has his route, so we're just going to go into this, hit this with an Aqua Tail and take this down, and then we're going to go get into the fight with Watson, the 3rd gym leader of the run. So Watson here is going to lead off with Volbeat, we go out with our Combusken, and we go for 2 Flame Charges here to take this down with a 2-shot, as he then nextly sends in Manectric. So for this fight, I've equipped all of my Pokemon with the Cherry Berry, because I know that Watson likes to go and use Thunder Wave, so when he does use this, I do get to recover myself from paralysis. After doing a bit of chip damage, we get the Manectric down just below half-life as its berry activates, and then I go make a switch over into Pikachu. And the reason I did this is because I wanted a safe switch over into Azumarill, and by going from Pikachu to Azumarill, we stop Manectric from going for Shockwave. The next turn afterwards, he does hit us with Thunder Wave, we recover through our Cherry Berry, and we go hit the Aqua Tail on the Manectric, and sadly this doesn't kill. We get into really low life, and what's even worse here is we end up missing Aqua Tail after the potion as well, so this started going pretty wrong here, especially after when Manectric uses Thunder Wave again and we get stopped by paralysis. Fortunately, we do manage to pull off 2 more Aqua Tails though and can take this down. After Manectric, we're then going to be up against Watson's Magneton. I'm going to make the hard switch over into CBD and we take a Shockwave on the switch. This doesn't do too much. He then starts spamming Thunder Wave, which we cure from our Cherry Berry, and try and just do as much chip damage as we can, before then switching over into Pikachu and starting to try and use this as an opportunity to set up. So I go for a Nasty Plot and put myself into +2 special attack. We take a Supersonic, but I know I've got to keep going, so I go for another Nasty Plot afterwards and put myself into +4. And the bad thing here is Magneton also had Sonic Boom, which is always going to be 20 damage. So that knocks us just above half-life. And on this next turn I have a choice. I have to risk Thunderbolt, but if I hurt myself to Confusion here and then hit by Sonic Boom afterwards, Pikachu's going to die. But if I didn't go for this, I had a feeling we was going to wipe, so I had to go for it. And a +4 Thunderbolt with a critical hit was able to finish off the rest of the Magneton, putting us then into Watson's final Pokemon, Flaffy. We hurt ourselves in Confusion. Flaffy goes for Cotton Spore, and now I know I need to switch. So I make the hard switch back over into CBD. We take a Power Gem on the switch, and I spam a bunch of Mega Drains until this goes down, and we defeat Watson for the 3rd gym badge of a run. Not too long after getting the 3rd gym badge, we head then up to the top of Mount Chimney and get into our first fight of a run against Team Magma's leader, Maxie. Maxie's Pokemon aren't going to be a problem for Azumarill. We go take down the Mightyena with Play Rough. We also one-shot his Camerupt after with an Aqua Tail, and then the same happens to his Gligar as well as we successfully sweep Maxie, and that's going to give us access then to Lava Ridge Town, where we're going to go get into the 4th gym fight of a run against Flannery. So my idea here was that I was going to go for the Rollout strat. Rollout's a move that every time you use it consecutively, it's going to increase in damage. And basically, really what I wanted to do was I just wanted to get the Flareon out. I couldn't go for Aqua Tail because a lot of these Pokemon use Sunny Day, which makes my water type attacks a lot weaker, so Rollout was the option I wanted to go for. And 2 Rollouts would be enough to take out the Slugma. We also take down the Flareon with a Rollout, but then Torkoal comes and we actually miss our Rollout, which sucks. It basically means all the power in our Rollouts are going to reset, and then I try going for another Rollout after, and that also misses. So again, things weren't going too greatly with the rollout strat. I did have a citrus berry equipped to Azumarill though, so I could get some HP back. And also the sunlight faded, so I could go for an Aqua Tail here as well, but I knew it wasn't going to kill just due to Torkoal's high defense. Torkoal's also going to set up another sunny day here, and I've decided to try again the rollout strat. I knew it wasn't going to kill, but I kind of felt like there was a damage roll there with Aqua Tail, so rollout was away. And with our 4th rollout there, Torkoal goes down, and now we go for a 5th rollout on Camerupt. Take this down as well, and that's Flannery defeated for the 4th gym badge of a run. Definitely not the prettiest fight, but we got through it deathless, and I'll take it. Now, not much is really going to happen between here and getting to Norman in Petalburg, which is the 5th gym leader. Except from the fact that I'm now going to use this as an opportunity to evolve Gloom over into a Vileplume. And before we get into the fight with Norman as well, I'm also going to go evolve our Pikachu over into a Raichu. And with our team all prepared, that's when we go get into things. So to begin the fight, Norman starts off with Spinda. I send out Azumarill. And I try an Aqua Tail on the first turn, which misses. We're then hit by Tita Dance, so this is already going awfully. Because of the confusion, I switch over into Zuko, take a Facade on the switch, and then hit this into low life with a double kick. Because I'm then hit by Tita Dance once again, and because I know Norman's going to heal, I go make the switch over into Mizu, try the Aqua Tail again and pray it doesn't miss, which thankfully it doesn't. We knock the Spinda back down into low life, and then we take another Tita Dance, which puts us back under confusion. So once again, I make another switch over into Combuskin, take another Facade on the switch, and then finish this off with a double kick. After this then, Norman sends out Slacking, so we go make a switch over into CBD whilst it's loafing around. I try to set up the Toxic and also the Protect to keep it under its Truant ability, but Norman actually switches Slacking, sending out his Politoed, which we end up hitting this with Toxic instead. Now this is kind of scary because Politoed's spamming Facade whilst under poison, and I'm just doing everything I can to try and protect Stall this. I even get off a double Protect. Getting the Politoed away into low life, Norman wastes another potion, but thankfully we were able to Moonlight and protect Stallvis long enough until it goes down. After Politoed goes down, Norman sends out Vigoroth. I gotta make a switch here over into Mizu, dodge an Encore, and can hit this with 2 Aqua Tails to finish this off, putting us back into Norman's final Pokemon, which again is Slacking. So again, like before, I gotta make the switch over to CBD whilst it's loafing around, put it under Toxic, and start going for a Moonlight and protect Stall until Slacking goes down to its poison, and we defeat Norman for the 5th gym badge of a run. After beating Norman, we start heading up the next route, getting to the Weather Institute, where we gotta go get into a fight with one of the Team Aqua admins. Now this fight's not really anything to worry about. I knock the Ludicolo in just above half-life, and then I go for a nasty plot afterwards, before finishing this off with a second Thunderbolt, and then moving on to our last Pokemon, which is Mightyena. Now, I probably could have just killed this with Thunderbolt, but I went for a Charm here, and because I saw it went for Dig, I do now have to go for the switch, so I switch over here into CBD. And CBD's moveset's absolutely destroyed right now because of Norman. So I basically had to hit Toxic on the Mightyena and just Toxic stall this until it went down. Immediately outside of the Institute, we've also got to go get into a fight with May. And this is actually going to be our final fight with May in the whole run as well. So we lead Pancake off here. Easily take down her Lombre with 2 Thunderbolts. And then we make a switch on the Marshtomp after due to it being a water ground type over into CBD. But just like the fight before, CBD's moveset is still literally set up for Norman, so we have to basically hit this with Toxic and just spam Protects and Moonlights until it goes down. Eventually this does go down though, and that's just going to put us into May's final Pokemon now, which is Ninetales. And again, my moveset is absolutely destroyed. But I decided I was going to stay in just because rain was up and try and hit this with a Toxic. Once getting it poisoned as well, I gotta make a switch then again over into Pancake. Saw that extra sensory doesn't do way too much damage to me, so I thought I was going to hit this with a Thunderbolt here, try and do as much damage as I can, and hopefully it will go down. It survives on really low and does hit me with another extra sensory, but this is fine because it's going to go down to poison, and that's May defeated for the final time in the run, giving us access then to Fortree, where we're firstly going to get our second shiny charm, and then after we're going to go ahead into the Fortree gym against Winona, the flying type trainer, in hopes of getting our 6th badge. Now, I decided on leading Mizu here because Fearow is a flying ground type in this game, so I know that this is going to go down to a one-shot Aqua Tail. We also get Tropius after, and I know I've got a turn to be able to hit this with Play Rough as it's going for Sunny Day, but after that's set up, I am going to go make the switch then over into CBD. And still just like before, CBD's moveset is absolutely destroyed, so it's time for Toxic, as we're going to spam a bunch of Moonlights and a bunch of Protects until this eventually goes down. And this one took ages as well because Tropius just kept landing in low life. Winona kept using Hyper Potions, but eventually we did manage it. Now CBD probably could have stayed in even longer, but because Skarmory's next I can't actually hit this with Toxic, so I'm just going to go make the switch straight away over into Pancake. And Skarmory was also holding the Flying Gem as well, so it probably was a really good switch. I decided from here that I was going to start using Charm a few times, followed by a few nasty plots, before being able to take this down with a Thunderbolt. Straight afterwards we take down a Pelipper too, and now we've just got Altaria, so for Altaria, as I know this knows Earthquake, I am just going to switch. I don't think Raichu could have killed there, but I know we would have definitely lost Raichu if we didn't, so we made a switch over to CBD, take the Earthquake, and do exactly what we did to Tropius to Altaria. We put it under Poison, start spamming Protect, start spamming Moonlights until it gets into low life, and then we just go make a switch over into Mizu after. Keep ourselves that little bit more protected, as then Altaria goes down to its Poison, and we defeat Winona for the 6th gym badge of a run. So I know that I've got 2 really tough battles coming up soon, both being Tate and Liza, and also Maxi. And with this thought in mind, I know I can't go into these fights unprepared, so I started using this time now to look for some more shiny Pokemon. Searching around in the grass just after Fortress, we find ourselves a Xatu, and I'm also going to use this time for some training as well, because our level cap has now increased, so we can finally go and evolve things like Combuskin over into Blaziken. And with all this done, we go get into another fight with Maxi. Now this isn't the Maxi fight I was talking about earlier, there's another one straight after Tate and Liza, but this one could also still go really wrong, so it was nice having Xatu here with us. I've also dropped for this fight as well Aqua Tail for Liquidation. It does slightly less damage, but it's so much more reliable. But the thing is, due to this, we don't get the one shot on Glow Score. That is fine though. We get a free turn afterwards to take this down at least. And then Maxi sends in Crobat. Now with Crobat, I am going to go make the switch here over into CBD, take a Poison Fang on the switch, and then I'm going to go make another switch afterwards over into Raichu. Reason I did this is because I didn't want Raichu to be hit by Poison Fang just yet, just in case it badly poisons. I actually thought as well it was going to go for a flying type attack, but it instead went for Leech Life and did quite a lot of damage. Thankfully though, Leech Life puts this under Paralysis, and we can go take this down with 2 Thunderbolts after the potion. Straight after we get Camerupt to go make the hard switch straight over into Xatu to give it its debut, and we set up a Wish. Now I probably would have stayed in a bit longer with Xatu as well, but because we got hit by Yawn, I decided I was going to go put the Wish Pass over onto Mizu, and all I hoped this whole time when it went for Body Slam is don't para. Unfortunately it did, but we still outspeed with the para, did manage to pull off the Liquidation, and can take down the Camerupt. But then that's just going to leave us with Ursaring. And unfortunately for us now, we're slower. We're also now in range for it to kill as well, so I do go make the switch afterwards over into Blaziken. Taking another Grav Apple on the switch before taking this down with a double kick and defeating Maxi. We've now just got one more little fight against the Team Aqua admin in Team Aqua's hideout before we can get over to Mossdeep. These are both Mightyena and Golbat, so it's not going to be much for us. We take down the Mightyena with 2 Thunderbolts after a heal. And I also would have took down the Golbat as well, but I decided I was going for Thunder Wave. Golbat ends up putting itself under Paralysis due to our static. So I go make the switch here over into Oracle. And with Oracle, this is just a one-shot to Psychic. We finish this off, head over into Mossdeep, and now we're going to go get into the fight with Tate and Liza. I was nervous about this fight, but I did have a plan. Firstly, that plan consisted of me using Charm on the Claydol, because if it goes for Earthquake, it means Raichu's going to live. And Earthquake's an option it can definitely go for as well, but it did decide here to go for a Psychic on Mizu instead, which is also just as great for us, as we still got both our leading Pokemon at really good HP. At the end of the first turn, after we take down the Claydol with a Liquidation, Tate and Liza nextly send out Solrock, and I immediately go put this under Paralysis, before taking a strike at Mismagius with Liquidation, which puts it into low life. Our Thunder Wave as well on Solrock is great because it stops it using Sunny Day, and what I should have done here after the heal was I should have doubled up on Mismagius, taking it down with both a Thunderbolt and Liquidation, but unfortunately I went with the other route and tried to go for a Thunder Wave and it missed. Solrock also manages to set up Sunny Day now, which is absolutely awful because Liquidation's going to be doing so much less damage now. But we don't even knock it below half-life. We do get a defense drop though, which is absolutely great. And I also managed to finally hit this with a Thunder Wave too. Now Mismagius is actually our biggest threat here. Solrock isn't doing way too much damage to us, and Lunatone won't really do that much damage either, so I do know that I need to take this down. and I go do so on the next turn. Titaniser's final Pokemon Lunatone then comes out. I go also put this under Paralysis as well. And with Solrock's current HP, I know even in sunlight that it's not going to survive a liquidation, so I go for this, take this down, and turn this fight into a 2-on-1. Doubling up on the Lunatone with a Thunderbolt, followed by a liquidation to defeat Titaniser and get ourselves our 7th gym badge of the run. With this badge, we're then to head into the Moss Deep Space Center and get into that fight with Maxie that I was talking about. Another double battle where he's actually got a really terrifying team as well. I didn't really have any answers for this either. I just kind of went in there hoping that Mizu and Pancake with minted natures and some good EV investments will be able to one-shot both the Crobat with Thunderbolt and the Gliscor with Liquidation. And thankfully this actually happens too, we managed to take them both down with one-shots. Then nextly we get Ursaluna and Shiftry, so the plan here is I know Raichu's probably the one being targeted. I gotta make a switch here with Pancake over into Oracle, and a great switch it was as well. We take a fake out, hit the Ursaluna with Liquidation, and then we also managed to dodge a high horsepower because of a switch. Now this is great because I can go for Psychic on the next turn and take down the Ursaluna, and Xatu in my mind was going to be my potential sack for this fight. We take the Night Slash that possibly could have killed this, and we ended up surviving thanks to it not being a critical hit before then hitting the Shiftry with Play Rough and taking this down. Now because Oracle survived, I decided I'm going to keep it alive for a later day and make the hard switch here over into CBD as we take a Thunderous Kick from Dodrio. And after taking the Thunderous Kick, I go for a Liquidation on the Dodrio as it's our biggest threat out of the two, and take this down with a one-shot, leaving us then now with just Camerupt left. And Camerupt, just like most of the other Pokemon in this fight, is a one-shot to Liquidation. We take this down, defeat Maxie for the final time in the run. This is also going to be our final fight with Archie in the run as well, the leader of Team Aqua, as we also go get into this after. Now he's going to lead off with Wailord here, and my plan is that even though this is a Pokemon I probably could set up on, it could know Water Spout, so I don't want to take any chances. I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt straight away and take this down. Straight up after we get Breloom, and I really could have killed this as well, but unfortunately Archie keeps spamming super potions, so we end up putting the Breloom into a position where we can't safely two-shot. This was a damage roll, so I decided I was just going to switch and not take the risk. I made the switch over into Blaziken, take a Sky Uppercut, and then I'll go finish this off with a Blaze Kick. I then switch again on the Crobat after over into Oracle, take a Poison Fang which also poisons us. We also take a Leech Life on the next turn as well, but all this is fine because Crobat is going to be a one-shot to Psychic. And now lastly we've just got Sharpedo, so I made a switch back over into CBD. And the reason this was done is so I can make another switch afterwards over into Azumarill and make sure the Sharpedo doesn't go for Poison Fang straight away. That's because I knew I could survive one Poison Fang, but possibly not two. It would also put me in just enough HP to be able to take this down with a Play Rough, would give me enough HP to go use Play Rough on the Sharpedo to take this down, and to also not go down myself due to Sharpedo's Rough Skin. Defeating Archie for the final time in the run, as I take a little look at my team and realise I still need some more Pokemon. I've only had 5 so far in the run, and there's definitely a few Pokemon here that I do not want to take to the Elite Four with me. So my first place I go to is Mount Pyre, as I start shiny hunting Haunter, and after 180 encounters with the Dex Nav, we end up finding our shiny. So I capture this up and also go and immediately evolve this over into a Gengar, heading into Sootopolis after to go get into the 8th and final gym fight of a run. One starts off here with Starmie. I start off with Pancake, and on the first turn I'm going for a Thunderbolt straight away to go and take this down with a one-shot. Now if one never in this fight had a Whiscash, I probably could have set up here and just swept, but that's not going to happen. He sends in Whiscash next. I know it could be going for Earthquake. I make a switch here over into CBD as I've now fixed its moveset, and we go take this down with a one-shot to Giga Drain. One's third Pokemon then is Kingdra, and they're going to hit us with an Ice Gem boosted Ice Beam as I'll go put this under Toxic. Switching then after into Mizu, and with all these water pulses that keep coming in as well, I just prayed that we wouldn't get confused. Unfortunately we did, but thankfully we managed to get past the confusion and take down the Kingdra. Because of that confusion though, I'm not staying in. I gotta make the switch over into Oracle, set up a Wish, and use this as then my opportunity to go Wish Pass over into Raichu, restoring all of our life after taking the Water Pulse. and then taking down the Octillery with a Thunderbolt afterwards. And now we just got Celio. Celio is going to be a 2-shot to Thunderbolt, so we go take that down and defeat 1, earning ourselves our 8th gym badge. Now still, my team, I didn't really like it fully at this point. I knew there was going to be a few changes I wanted to make, especially with the Elite 4 coming up, so I go ahead into Pacific Log, start shiny hunting for around about an hour to 2 hours, find myself a shiny Cypher, and I go and immediately evolve this into a Scizor. Now that's not the only hunt I want to do as well. I go ahead into the Moorville Power Plant and I start shiny hunting Beldum, and this one took forever. Easily over 250 encounters, and it's really hard to get this Pokemon to actually spawn as well. It's really uncommon. We do manage to find this though. I tried to do a bit of chip damage to this with False Swipe from Sizer, and because it kept using Takedown, I ended up having to switch over into a Rebus and just keep spamming Ultra Balls. While it was literally on like 1 HP, and every Pokeball that we threw as well, it literally wouldn't capture it. And I just thought, in a moment, this is going to go down to struggle. And it probably nearly did as well. This took like 12 Ultra Balls. Its catch rate percentage must be really low, but thankfully we caught it, which means we can go take this now and evolve it into a Metang, and then do a little bit more training afterwards as well, and get this to evolve into a Metagross. Now both our Scizor and Metagross are going to be getting kept in the PC for Victory Road, because those are 2 Pokemon that I do want to take into the Elite Four with me, as I prepare my team and head into Victory Road to get into my final fight of the run against Wally. Wally in this fight leads Altaria, so I'm going to go hit this with a Toxic on the first turn with CBD and just start spamming a bunch of Giga Drains and everything else that I can do to stall out its turns and let this go down to its Toxic. I'm also going to be trying the same thing to his Gardevoir as well. I put this under Toxic after it sets up a Future Sight, and this fight really started getting tough. I kind of had a feeling we was going to lose somebody in this fight, but that's also why we bought 2 sacks as well. I felt a little sad doing this, but Oracle was meant to be one of my sacks earlier, and fortunately it survived, so I did say I was going to use it a bit later, if I needed to. And right now, I needed to, so I made a switch over into Oracle, took the Psychic from the Gardevoir, and then straight afterwards we took the Future Sight as well, and we actually survived. I knew I was in a lot of trouble though, so while Wally was going to heal, I tried to go for Swagger. It didn't work, so after Wally healed, Gardevoir sets up another Future Sight, and now I know I'm in a lot of trouble. So again, I go for the only move I felt was going to help me here, and that was again another Swagger. And it did kind of help, but the help that it did was only temporary, as Gardevoir eventually did get past the confusion and hit us with Psychic, which gave us our first death of a run. With this, I quickly switch over into Mizu and take a Future Sight, and this does loads of damage as well. So now I'm worried because things could start going really wrong here. And I even make the mistake of staying in with Mizu as well, which is also a Pokemon I did want for the Elite Four. I stay in hoping to get a Liquidation, hoping to be faster. Gardevoir gets past its confusion, sets up another Future Sight, which is absolutely terrible. But it was kind of good at least for Mizu's sake, because Mizu can hit this with a Liquidation and take this down, but Gardevoir could have easily went for a Psychic there and gave us a second death as well. And as Mizu is a Pokemon I really want to keep alive for the Elite Four, I'm taking no more risks with it in this fight. I go make the switch over into CBD, who is probably the Pokemon I least need in the Elite Four. Still though, for every single turn, I try and do everything I can to keep CBD at as much life as possible, just in case. But as I knew deep down, CBD was not going to survive. It goes down to Future Sight and we get a second death of a run. At least though, this gives me a free switch into Gengar, which can take down the Roserade with 2 Sludge Bombs. We then nextly get Delcatty, and Delcat is also going to go down to a Sludge Bomb followed by Dark Pulse. And then lastly we just got Magnezone, and we go for a Dark Pulse here to try and flinch it. And this works, allowing us to go 2-shot this on the next turn with another Dark Pulse to defeat Wally and head through the rest of Victory Road until we get to the final trainers at the end. Now I know these guys are run killers, and they're probably not even necessary to be added in the video either, but I am going to leave them in, as Gengar did really well to get us past them. We start with Caitlyn first, and her Gardevoir is going to go down to a Sludge Bomb 1-shot, and then we get a Slacking after, so Dark Pulse on this is going to go make it flinch, and put its life low enough for us to finish it off with a Sludge Bomb. Same thing basically happens on the other trainer as well. Start off with a Dark Pulse, make the Slacking flinch, and then finish this off with a Sludge Bomb, as Nextly is going to send out a Dusknoir, and Dusknoir goes down to a 1-shot with a Shadow Ball, meaning that we've gotten through Victory Road and can now go do everything else we need to do before heading into the Elite Four, as we step into the first room and get into the fight with Elite Four Sydney. Now Sydney's a dark type trainer, so I'm going to be leading my Scizor against Mightyena. Mightyena does have access to Fire Fang, so I didn't want to try and use Sword Dance yet, so I'm just going to take this down straight away with a Fury Cutter. Straight after this, Sydney sends out his Honchkrow, so I'm going to go Sword Dance into +2. And I see that it starts trying to set up some double teams, so I decide I'm just going to try the Iron Head. And we do manage to hit this and take down the Honchkrow with a one-shot. And the rest of his team's just going to go down to one-shots now as well. Crawdaunt goes down to a Fury Cutter. Same with Cacturn. This also goes down to a one-shot. And now lastly, we just have Absol. And Absol is going to go down to a Bullet Punch as we defeat Sydney. And then go ahead into the second room of the Elite Four and get into the fight against Phoebe. She's a ghost type trainer. I'm going to be leading Gengar here, and I'm also equipped it with the choice specs. Now, Gengar probably could sweep this entire fight if I could just spam Shadow Ball. Phoebe's Bayonet is a ghost normal type, so I have to go with Dark Pulse instead. With the choice specs though, we are able to go take down the Dusclops with a one-shot, and we just missed a one-shot by the tiniest bit against the Dusknoir. Really annoying, but at least its berry puts it past healing range, but because of this, we do take a Raging Fury. It actually doesn't do that much damage though, and we can go finish this off on the next turn. Straight after then, Phoebe sends out Bayonet. This is another one-shot to Dark Pulse, so this goes down too. And now we've got Miss Magius, and I don't feel like I'm going to take this down with a one-shot to Dark Pulse, so I'm going to make the switch here over into Scizor. Take a Shadow Ball on the switch, take another one straight after as well, which leaves us onto really low life, but we are able to go take this down with an Iron Head though. And that just leaves us now with Phoebe's final Pokemon, Froslass, so I'm going to make a hard switch quickly over into Mizu. And what's annoying here is we do get hit with Will-O-Wisp, so because we're burned, our physical attacks are going to do way less damage, and the Froslass survives with over half of its HP. I do get another idea though, and that's just to go hard switch immediately over into Blaziken, tank an Infernal Parade. We also need to tank a Shadow Ball after 2, which we do nicely, and we can go finish this off with a Blaze Kick and defeat Phoebe, and move on into the third room of the Elite Four then, against Glacier, the Ice type trainer. So in this fight, I've got another plan, and my plan here was to either Nasty Plot into +2 or +4, and then going for the sweep. And because Dugong uses Hail after we use our first Nasty Plot, I do go put myself into +4 with a second one, and from here then, it's game. We go for a Thunderbolt on the Dugong, and this goes down to a one-shot. We also go for a Thunderbolt on the Glaceon as well, and take this down to a one-shot too. Same for her Walrein as well. This is just another one-shot to Thunderbolt. As you can imagine, Cloyce does another one-shot to Thunderbolt, so we go take this down, and this just leaves us with Glacier's final Pokemon now, which is Glalie. And just like the rest of the Pokemon in this fight, this is a one-shot to Thunderbolt. We take this down and we defeat Glacier, which then gives us access to the fourth and final member of the Elite Four, Drake, the Dragon type trainer. Now, unlike the rest of the trainers in the Elite Four, I actually did not have a real plan for Drake. My idea basically was to just get into the fight and hit everything as hard as I can. He leads off with Kingdra, and I go take this down with a one-shot to Play Rough, and the same thing happens to Flygon as well, but because we were slower than both, I have lost quite a bit of HP. When Steelix comes after, I go make the switch over into Gengar, because I know it's probably going for Earthquake. And because it does, we get that free switch, and now I can try and take down a Steelix with a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse also puts it onto really low life, and this is good for us too because we get to waste one of Drake's potions as we put the Steelix straight away back onto low HP and can go finish this off on the next turn. This then puts us into Drake's scariest Pokemon, Salamence, and I kind of hoped here that if I went for a Dark Pulse I could probably get a flinch. Unfortunately, this does happen as well, but we knock Salamence into its berry, and its HP just goes a little bit above 2-shot range. So when we go for the Dark Pulse on the next turn, Salamence survives, hits us with a Crunch which does loads of damage, but I know that I'm faster at least, so I'm going to go take this down. This then just leaves us with Altaria. I've noticed that I did all this training and all this hunting for a shiny Metagross, and I'm basically all the way through the Elite Four and it's not even featured once yet. So with Gengar on low life and stuck into Dark Pulse because of the choice specs, I felt now was a perfect time to give Metagross his chance. So I go make the hard switch from Gengar over into Juggernaut, and I could go take down the Altaria with a one-shot to Meteor Mash and defeat Elite Four Drake, allowing us into the final room for the final fight of the entire run against Champion Wallace. And as his leading Wailord here, I'm going to start off with Pancake, and I'm going to go for a Thunderbolt straight away to try and take as much life away from the Wailord as possible. This is just in case it wants to go for Water Spout, and our Thunderbolt doesn't actually kill either. It puts the Wailord into really low life, But it's also a good thing because we get to waste one of Wallace's potions, and because I know I got a free turn, I go for the nasty plot here, put myself into +2, and then Thunderbolt's gonna one-shot. Sadly though, I can't keep this up because Nextly comes out Whiscash, and that's a water ground type, so I do have to switch. And as I know it's going for Earthquake, what better switch than going over into a Rebus to dodge it? As my idea here is now to go for a Dark Pulse and try and get a flinch and then hopefully 2-shot. But sadly that plan goes completely out the window because Wallace is now spamming Amnesia. Because I know it's going to keep doing this, I do make the switch then over into Blaziken, and Blaziken with a physical double super effective chop kick can go finish off a Whiscash. Putting us then into Wallace's third Pokemon, Milotic, I immediately switch over into my Metagross and we take a Surf on the switch. Surf's doing quite a lot of damage as well, and Milotic's faster, and it also crits us, so we're in really low life now with Metagross, which is absolutely terrifying. Meteor Mash also puts it just below half life, but it does get some recovery from its Citrus Berry, but now I'm scared, so I immediately go switch over into Mizu, take an Ice Beam on the switch, and try and do as much damage to this as I can with Play Rough, which actually really nicely does the rest of Milotic's HP as well. And that there will then get us into Wallace's fourth Pokemon, Ludicolo, and due to it being a grass type, I go make the switch then over into a Rebus. We take a Leech Seed on the switch, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not so bad as well because I am going to go instantly take this down with a Sludge Bomb on the next turn. And then that gets us into his Tentacruel. And because I'm spexed, I go make the switch from a Rebus over into Scizor, and we take a Hydro Pump. This does a lot more damage than I was ever expecting as well. And after taking 2 of these, we're now on really low life and I'm stuck with a very tough decision. I really want to get into Pancake, and I'm trying to work out my safest option how. My 2 options were staying with Scizor, do a bit more chip damage and risk Tentacruel being able to take this down, or just hard switching straight over into Pancake, hopefully not going down to a Hydro Pump, and also praying that it doesn't crit as well. Now that was completely unsafe and I really did not want to do this, but it was just the safest option. And sadly, because this was the safest option, I made the sad decision of staying in with Mantis, hitting the Tentacruel with a Bullet Punch to try and get that bit more chip damage, and letting it take me down with a Hydro Pump, causing us to get our 3rd death of the run. This does mean though at least I can get a safe switch over into Pancake, and we can revenge kill with a Thunderbolt. And the reason we also wanted to get into Pancake here as well is because Wallace's final Pokemon is Gyarados, and us with one last double super effective Thunderbolt can go take down Wallace's final Pokemon and defeat Wallace, meaning that we've beaten a challenge and we've beaten the run. Guys, I really hope you've all enjoyed the video. It's been really fun getting to come back to Sea Glass Emerald again, and if you've enjoyed the video and made it this far, I would love it if you could leave me some love in the comments and down in the ratings. And if you're new to the channel too, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Every day now we keep getting a little bit closer to 7,000 subscribers. I'm really grateful for all the support, and I've got an insanely strong lineup of content planned throughout all of the summer that I know everybody's gonna love. So make sure that subscribe button is smashed. I would love for you to stick around, and with that all said, it's been Ant, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace out, guys.